What's up? My name is Tristan, and I have a message for you today. It's about stress, it's about faith, it's about what God did for me. Based on a personal experience, I want to share with all you guys. The story begins about 5.5, 6 years ago, at a time when my family and I were undergoing a lot of stressful experiences. The context was I was living in Taiwan. I was just about to graduate from a Mandarin-speaking public elementary school at about 11 years old. At this point, I was much less fluent in English than I am now. Because Chinese was all I spoke in school, and everywhere else, I did not want to speak anything else. So when my parents talked to me in English, I would just reply in Chinese. I read almost exclusively Chinese books, and I only ever written anything in Chinese. Naturally, after graduation, all my schoolmates registered for Chinese middle schools. But my dad had always planned for me to come here to the US for middle school. And by then, my dad had been trying to buy a house in the US for about a whole year to move the family here. So naturally, he did not sign me up for any Chinese middle school. However, around that time, my father heard word that his mother had a tumor and would have to undergo a critical surgery. And being my grandmother's only child that was in Taiwan at the time, we would have to stay in Taiwan and look after her. Naturally, my parents were extremely stressed out about this, my dad especially. And yet, my grandmother's condition was what eventually pushed my father, who had set his Christian faith aside for all of 20 years, to finally go back to church, this time bringing my entire family into the faith with him. In fact, my brother and I accepted the faith and were baptized the following Easter Day in Taiwan on April 8, 2012. In the meantime, another source of stress was that while I now could not attend an American middle school because of my grandmother's condition, I had also missed the deadline to apply for a Chinese public middle school. My parents eventually decided that the only viable option for me at that point was to go to this English-speaking private school in Taiwan called Taipei American School, or TAS, to develop my English and get in touch with American culture and all that. However, there was a required entry test for TAS called the ISEE. If some of you know this, I doubt it, but it's Independent School Entrance Exam, which abides completely by American standards. We also learned that a ton of people signed up for the school that year, many of which were in my grade and came directly from US schools, which means, of course, that they had been studying English in the US since kindergarten up to the 6th grade, both of which were very bad news for me. Worst part is that the ICE requires a prompt-based essay, a term that I have never even heard of before, to be finished at the testing center within 50 minutes. Keep in mind, I was completely clueless about how to write an English essay, because I never written one before. So now we're stuck in a sort of dilemma, because I have this great school that I was really not likely to get into, and if I did not get into it, I have no middle school to go because I didn't register for anything else. So it's not only I was very stressed, but my parents were also very, 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 very stressed. The thing I was most stressed out about was this essay, so my dad said that for the remaining months before the entry test, he would give me an essay prompt and I would simulate the test by writing an essay every day for a month. I completely hated doing this. Hated with like a capital H. Because the more I write my horrible essays, the more it affirms how clueless and unprepared and hopeless I was at ever getting into the school, so I would just get more and more stressed. Perhaps some of you can relate to similar experiences in school. About a week in, I could not take it anymore. We were having dinner, and my dad had given me a random prompt. The prompt was called, "Who is your role model and why?" Very cliche. Frustrated and discouraged as I was, I essentially threw a fit and called quits. I was actually very angry at that point for having to do this. And essentially I told my dad across the dinner table, "This is stupid. Why am I doing this? I cannot pass this test. I don't even know what to write. I don't know how to start this essay." Done. My dad very calmly told me to close my iPad, which I was typing my essay on, and pray to God for guidance. So I did. I don't remember what exactly I prayed, but it went something like, "God, do you want me to get into this school? If so, please help me with this role model essay, because I'm stressed out, and I need your help, and I don't know what to write." As soon as I opened my eyes to look at my iPad again, there was a Facebook notification that popped onto the screen. And it was a picture from this Christian Facebook channel that we subscribed to called Daily Jesus. Maybe some of you subscribe to that. Had this picture of Jesus on it, and with very large captions along the side. It says, "Jesus, my hero, my leader, my mentor, and my role model." Ah, role model. finished that role model essay by writing about Jesus, of course, and how he was indeed my hero, leader, mentor. 3 body paragraphs. How good is that? I finished all the other essays from my dad with confidence and without complaining too much, and about a month later I passed the ISE test. Very high marks. At the end of that school year, I won the English award for my entire grade by writing my first ever English short story at TNS, the school I didn't think I was getting into in the first place. Now, the focus of this story should not be on how smart and awesome I am, because God was the one who helped me, and the glory is, and always will be His. It should not even be strictly about this daily Jesus picture that I believe, and still believe is a sign from God. The moral of the story should be, and is, what this experience confirms. Looking back, I see that God had been guiding and watching us, my whole family that is, through the stressful experiences as well as a good one. He has meant for me, He has meant for all that happened to my family to happen to my family exactly how it happened to my family. God had meant for my grandmother to get that surgery. He had meant for us to change Taiwan. He had meant for my father to turn to Him in a time of distress. He had meant for me to get into Taipei American School. And He had meant for me to discover my interest in English, which was something, if you remember, that I hated. All this was His plan and for His greater purpose. If my father had not stayed in Taiwan, he may not have returned to church. I may not have accepted Christ then, and I may not even be here today in this church delivering this message to you. Likewise, I believe God has a plan for you and is more than willing to guide you as well. And I believe that if you put your trust in Him, you can rest assured that even if it may not seem like it at first, He will make everything work out exactly how He meant it to be in due time. As a conclusion, the hard truth is that everyone experiences stress. For some of you, this is very obvious. In fact, if you look to the Bible, Job 5:7 puts it very simply, man is born to trouble. It actually says. Yet, the Bible teaches us not to stress. Philippians 4:6 says, for example, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And finally, and most importantly, the only way we can do this is surrendering our burdens to God and trusting in His plan and His timing will work out for His glory and for our good. As Proverbs 16:9 phrases it, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Thank you.